n0thing is one of NA's biggest CSGO players.
The right way at the right time. It's happening! n0thing, he just stands up! Ice cold!
But what does it mean to be the best in NA? To be perennially at the top of a region that can't compete with the scene's top international talent?
And now we are going to win it 16-14, and you can tell the impact on Cloud9 there. Oh, wow.
What becomes of your legacy when winning is almost always just out of reach?
And TSM will go through to the quarterfinals once again in a major. Cloud9 will be going home.
What becomes of your legacy when the team you helped build finally wins without you? Across a decade of playing CS professionally, n0thing saw it all. The highs, the lows, and every crushing loss in between. And yet, his legacy has remained untarnished. This is his story. Jordan n0thing Gilbert was born on October 25th, 1990 in San Diego, California, and was the youngest of three brothers. Like many of today's esports pros, n0thing got his start in his game of choice by watching his brother Jared play Counter-Strike. But even before that, n0thing always had a flair for competition and wasn't going to let other kids walk all over him.
We joined this little roller hockey league. Kids were kind of picking on him a little bit. So I went over to kind of protect him, and he pushed me back, and he goes, "I got this."
But at home, n0thing was obsessed with video games, specifically Counter-Strike 1.6.
I homeschooled Jordan for the 12 years he was in school. On his off time, he wanted to play video games. How could I say no when he was doing all his work? And when I saw how effortlessly he was improving and growing so fast, I just decided that I was going to go as far as I wanted to go with it.
He was playing 10 to 12 hours of CS a day, non-stop, and then going out to small LAN tournaments and rolling people. The only problem was that n0thing was much younger than his adult opponents.
A lot of the older kids that were playing did not like the fact that they were getting waxed by 9 and 10-year-old players, so his older brother stood by to make sure that things didn't get out of hand, which they did a few times.
n0thing knew that the only way to make it big was to play as much as possible in front of as many people as possible. So he leaned on his mother, who drove him to LAN after LAN, all on n0thing's quest to become the best.
So one of the biggest things for me succeeding in the local scene and probably getting the opportunities I did was getting notoriety from competing in tournaments in LA and Las Vegas, and my mom was the key factor in getting me there.
And it all paid off a few years later, when n0thing signed with Evil Geniuses at just 18 years old.
So at that point, Amazing Gaming, we won a Code 5 qualifier and got picked up by Evil Geniuses. And that was like my first pro contract that actually had like a salary, and they gave me gear and stuff.
For the next 4 years, EG were the best North American 1.6 team. They won the ESEA Season 3 Finals, the IEM4 American Finals, the ESEA Season 5 Finals, ESEA Season 6 Finals, and the Beat It 2010 Finals. But when it came to international competition, EG always faltered.
What's Alan down there switching out to the USB? Not sure why, but Alan is going to get the frag, and that's going to be another round to SK as we approach this last round. It's set
you've got a second.
21-8.
All the while, n0thing was developing a reputation. He had an aggressive, high-octane style that made him thrilling to watch, and his young age made his Wonderkin status all the more impressive.
I'm going to be showing you guys today a bit about M4 gun control and just showing you the different aspects of it and basically all the different battling techniques you'll need for the different distances and situations you'll encounter.
But after so many years atop NA, EG finally crumbled in 2011. The team fell to 9th, 10th at IEM Hanover, then failed to make it out of groups at IEM 6 Global Challenge New York, and capped off the year by placing 3rd at the WCG Pan American Tournament. During that same time, n0thing was pretty uncertain about his life. EG was paying him a salary, but it wasn't enough to live off. So he started going to college and even got a marketing internship at Gunner. But the internship just made him jealous.
It was kind of a weird blow to my ego because I was like dealing in the gaming industry, but in like this behind the scenes way, and I was like helping other pro gamers from like League and StarCraft do cool stuff. And I remember being jealous, like, man, I wish my game had more traction.
Evil Geniuses left Counter-Strike in January 2012, disbanding their team after months of rumors and speculation. That left n0thing in the lurch. 1.6 was on the way out, and CSGO, the game's sequel, was quickly becoming the game of choice. But Go wasn't perfect, and when it came out, n0thing wasn't even sure if he liked it.
I hate how in CSGO they made it more about strategy and less about fucking just easy. Like in 1.6, the recoil is obviously easier to control, but the strategy was much more prevalent because you could actually hold angles and you can't just fucking run up like an idiot by yourself. In this game, fucking pure idiotness just works everywhere.
But what n0thing didn't realize at that time was that CSGO was perfect for him.
You know, very early on there was a clip of him like actually kind of criticizing a certain aspect of the game, and while he's talking and having a conversation, he's just casually getting 4 kills in a round, just running forward, and you know, it just seemed so effortless to him. And so we all thought that Jordan would just be incredible at this game because it just seemed to fit his style so much.
n0thing bounced around several rosters as CSGO started to gain traction, playing with some of NA's best rising talent. His last team, Team Dynamic, was quickly noticed and signed by long-running eSports org, Complexity Gaming. The team played in the first 2 CSGO majors, brand new tournaments with massive prize pools funded by Valve, making it into the top 8 both times. And n0thing was popping off.
Now, Sean is going to go down here. Good shot from Adrian. Marked off hiding, but no, it's not going to be enough. He has the angle, but it isn't good enough. Crew's just going to go down. Look at that.
After just a few months of playing Go, that Complexity roster changed hands again. This time, they were acquired by up-and-coming esports org Cloud9, the team that n0thing would spend the rest of his professional career with. CSGO was growing in ways that 1.6 could never match. Esports was growing at a rapid pace thanks to growing prize pools, more interest from sponsors, and increased viewership on Twitch. That meant there was a legion of brand new CS fans, kids who never played CS 1.6, and were looking for a team to love. And Cloud9 gave NA fans that team.
Oh, flashes Dupree, this position right here, he's about to get flashed right through, n0thing sees it coming, gets some spray, this is a slaughter! 4 frags! Sempress, n0thing gets 2, and n0thing casually walks back and gets a 3rd. Cloud9, it couldn't have gone better!
The team was among the best in NA in those early days of CSGO, but perhaps more importantly, n0thing was providing fans with a look behind the curtain.
What do you got to say right now to the camera?
All-Star game's going live in about 30 minutes.
What do you think we're going to win by?
61, 60, we might get a couple rounds.
Robin, are you playing? Are you playing All-Star game?
n0thing would constantly vlog and take behind-the-scenes videos early on in CSGO, endearing himself to fans and bringing them closer to the team and his goofy personality.
About to get on another plane, going to Stockholm to play a lot of CS and get insane.
Beats made by Shelly Sorrenthes.
Unfortunately, that was a lot of what there was to like about C9. They were one of NA's best, but just like EG, they crumbled in the face of international competition.
The time is ticking, he's got 17 health, he has to push out, Dupree will land the shot, and TSM will go through to the quarterfinals. Once again in a major, Cloud9 will be going home.
Cloud9 placed 9th, 12th at DreamHack Winter and ESL 1 Katowice 2015. And until the spring, they continued to be stymied by European teams at every tournament they attended. In April, C9 made a switch, bringing on Skadoodle and Freakazoid to replace Shazam and Semphis. Then, after a few weeks of feeling out the roster, they were suddenly on the upswing.
Couple HGs. And Ali's going to go in now with a Dren to make it happen. They both get eliminated straight away. And congratulations, we have a winner. Cloud9 will actually win 2-0 over Team Liquid, and they will be crowned the champions of the HTC Reborn Invitational. So
And they weren't just the best team in NA, they were finally hanging with the European teams.
What a long map this has been for them, but Overpass is up next. Shroud, he's got the double, he's gonna get the triple. There it is. And look at Freakazoid, absolutely fired up.
Unfortunately, they weren't winning.
And now it's all on Shroud here, 17 seconds, and he goes for the fight, he goes down, and Na'Vi are gonna win it 16-14. And you can tell the impact on Cloud9 there. Oh, wow.
Cloud9 were the undisputed best team in NA, and while they could compete internationally, they weren't ever able to push themselves the rest of the way past the finish line.
It's looking great for Fnatic. They've done it time and again. 2 major championships, and here it is. They are your victors here at ESL ESCA Pro League Season 1.
That summer, they were perennially second-place finishers, behind the European teams that beat them time and time again. The summer of C9 came to an end at the 2 majors that fall, as C9 placed 9th, 12th, back-to-back at both ESL 1 Cologne 2015.
Skadoodle has been to many a major and he has never made it out. And with Cloud9, I think this was honestly the best shot that he had, and still denied. Incredible.
And DreamHack Cluj-Napoca 2015.
They're not going to hear him coming. They're too distracted. They're too preoccupied trying to get toward the site, and it's Flusha that they run into again. It's all said and done. 2 straight maps. Fnatic, they'll move into the quarterfinal. And Cloud9, unfortunately, North America, they're bowing out here yet again.
Shortly thereafter, team captain Sean Garrett left the team and was replaced for the 2016 season. And at least for the first few months, the roster move didn't go according to plan.
It's all on Shroud, 1 versus 4, and G2. They'll do one better than Envy, no less, but it's Cloud9 once more that get completely dismantled in a major.
At MLG Columbus, Cloud9 washed as Team Liquid rose up and placed 3rd, 4th, the highest finish an NA team had ever attained at a major. Meanwhile, Cloud9 were out in dead last. C9's place as NA's best team was officially taken over, and the team went into a roster freefall. They lost Freakazoid, added Adren, then Slemmy, then Automatic, all while getting rid of their manager and coach. The Cloud9 that ruled NA was well and truly done. In its place, there was a new Cloud9, one that, for a while, looked pretty solid.
Yeah, the flash works, but n0thing's not fully blinded. He's good in the flashbang dance as he gets the headshot back against Apex, and Automatic's not sure to rotate because they are still trying to split. n0thing, he's turned back, he's figured it out, and a headshot as well. A nice headshot onto Happy.
They were a team that could once again compete with the top international teams.
And he's got a smoke out, a nade thrown, but he's gonna try and bait out this bomb plant, fake it, watch window, there's a chance they push through, n0thing sprays, and through the smoke, they'll secure their place in the grand final.
But they couldn't win.
On top of the balcony position, they're gonna try and bait it on Automatic, though Neo's got the first shot. Automatic's still in behind the hut, he's still not peaked on this. He's gotta try and cut them out for the broken wall. He does get one, but now it's just him remaining, and he's on to 16, he's gone. Virtus Pro, your DreamHack Open champions in a very, very convincing tournament. These guys cease to stop and easy against Americanas. Once more, they dominate USA.
At least, not until the ESL Pro League Season 4 finals.
Last time it was n0thing, but Skadoodle hits another shot. Chris goes down. Stewie's pulled it back. Now it's just 2 remaining, and it's low HP on the 2 Mouse Sports players, but Speedy gets Stewie down. It's Skadoodle countered off. In the corner, hits Nico, low HP, jumping across. Speedy's on 13, and Skadoodle's gonna do it. 28 kills for Skadoodle in the game, and Cloud9 is going to a final.
Cloud9 went on a tear at the EPL Season 4 finals, and in a complete upset, brought down hometown favorites SK Gaming in front of a crowd of cheering Brazilian fans.
But they want to contest Stewie, who gets one. It's Cold Zero, bomb down. Automatic in a 1 versus 1, and he's got no idea where Automatic is. He's rotated all the way to long, and Cold might get caught. He's looking down toward the door. He's in the open. It's Automatic to give Cloud9 Season 4. And that duo of Stewie and Automatic together on Cloud9 is what brought them back to form, and they show it in the last round to clutch it back.
I'm trying not to cry. Yeah, I've played this game for a long time. To beat these guys here means a lot to me, and you know, that my team played amazing today, so I can say all the cliche things right now. I'm just really fucking excited.
things were looking up for Cloud9. They made it into the Atlanta Major closed qualifier and were back to playing well in NA, despite their continued failures internationally. But nothing helped C9 claw their way back up the ladder. They beat SK again at the Subaru Invitational, qualified for the Major with a first place finish at the Minor, and 3rd/5th at the closed qualifier, and even took a shocking 2nd place finish at ESL One Cologne 2017.
This is all timing now, Anders. Who's gonna look the right way at the right time? And it's happening! Nothing, he does it, and he just stands up! Ice cold!
But once again, it all came crashing down at the Major.
Leaving nothing alone. It's nothing between Virtus Pro and playoffs.
Can he do it though? All the experience, as much experience as the veterans of VP, but no! It's going to be Virtus Pro, the home team, in front of the home crowd, live on Friday at the Toron Arena here at the PGL Major.
Cloud9 left the Krakow Major in 9th, 11th place. Not dead last this time, but not good enough to guarantee a spot in the next Major. They needed a change, and all eyes were on its oldest members. On August 15th, 2017, just a month after their catastrophic Major exit, Cloud9 dropped Shroud and n0thing, the last remaining founding member of C9's CSGO team.
And so I had a feeling it was one or the other. It was either we're going to make a change with someone else or we're going to make a change with you. So he said it, I was like, all right, baby. That's all I need to know. It almost was a relief because we were in this like limbo for a while as a team that we needed something to change.
Shroud, for his part, had been talking about retirement for over a year and was ready to live the streaming lifestyle.
In my eyes, I actually am set for like 2018.
Are you trolling? I don't even know if you're serious.
No, I'm serious. Like I mean, I've told pretty much everyone this. Like one more solid year.
But n0thing approached things differently. He had been playing CS professionally for over a decade when he got benched for perhaps the first time in his entire life. He had gone from a wonderkind superstar to early CSGO adopter to beloved personality, and then all of a sudden, people thought he was washed up.
Kind of sad to see n0thing go out, but I guess, like, even if you're a critic of Tarek for n0thing still obviously feels like an upgrade for me. And Rush, I think, is fucking mental. I think he's insanely good.
Meanwhile, his contract with Cloud9 meant that he wasn't able to play for another team until May 2018, nearly a year away. So he decided to double down on bringing his personality to the fans.
About to go zipline. About to go eat lunch, actually. She's pretty scared. I've done it before down in South America. Heights. Well, it's going to be fun. So hopefully we get some good shots on the helmet. If not, I'm going to be really sad. Maybe I'll sneak the GoPro in my pocket if I can't fit it on the mount and then just whip it out and record.
That meant more streaming.
Oh my goodness! Yes, it is. You guys are really good.
And even getting in front of the camera as an analyst.
Dude, VP's always had quite a wild playbook. When they were in their prime, it was pretty wild to play them on maps like Cobble because they almost had a different playbook depending on who they played.
But while he was redefining his identity in the CS scene, Cloud9 was redefining their own identity in CS.
I don't expect us to win every tournament. I don't expect us to do making out groups every time. I do expect us to compete at a really high level though, making it hard for the teams to beat us, making us unpredictable, maybe grabbing a few wins here and there, and hopefully maybe win the Major.
After falling apart in Krakow, the new roster was sharp and went on a tear. 3rd, 4th at ESL One New York, E-League.
We've seen an incredible performance from Skadoodle so far this tournament. It's been a long time since I think we've seen him at this level where he's just hitting shots, he's clutching for his team, he's making the difference.
And IEM Oakland.
All right, then a semi-final's about to happen. Let's just hear it from you. Who's winning this? Is it FaZe? So is it Cloud9? Let's get it on! It's semi-final time!
Cloud9 was looking like the best in NA again, and while they weren't winning every significant tournament, they were placing well and truly competing with international rosters. And then, at the Boston Major, Cloud9 shocked the world by bringing down FaZe Clan 2-1 in the grand finals, becoming the first ever NA major champions.
Guardian waits patiently as Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your E-League major champions!
But they did it without n0thing. n0thing isn't necessarily upset that his team won the major without him. In fact, in a certain light, it's not really his team anyways. It's not the team he built, but the org he stuck with. Not being there for the win hurt, sure, but the way the team fell apart afterwards proved to him that maybe stepping back from the team was the right call.
And even thinking about it, obviously just like wish I won a major, like every player wishes they won a major, but not like, oh fuck these guys. Like, I think it was actually best that the team made those decisions to part ways. I probably should have left the team earlier or changed something on the team earlier when I had a little bit more say in what would happen.
n0thing has gone back to play just a little. Most notably, he stood in for Mouse Sports at ESL 1 Belo Horizonte and helped the team to a second place finish in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here just trying to play some CS. I'm definitely not replacing Oscar. That guy's a god offer. He's got a special role in this team. I'm just happy to be here and not cause them any problems, be able to stay with the pace they want to play. I'm proud to say that, you know, without a lot of practice, I'm still able to show up and do what's necessary to beat top teams in the world, and I'm just really happy to play in front of this great crowd.
But while playing for Mouse, n0thing got a chance to play with Rops, the team's rising young star who cites n0thing as an influence for why he got into CS in the first place.
I mean, I started playing 1.6 when I was around 7, and like that was around the time and n0thing was like the same age as me, and he had like a lot of these good matches and frag movies, which I really still look at nowadays, and yeah, he's probably the person I look up to.
And as for what comes next, n0thing says that's still up in the air.
I've created kind of a little ecosystem, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm not opposed to like playing again, but the problem is a lot of teams want a certain level of commitment. So all these things are happening, and then I'm advising a couple companies passively, and I put out this on my stream a couple times. I thought it'd be awesome if I were to play again to create an org, but building an org is not like, hey, you want to make an org? Like, all right, cool, see that. Like,
which in itself is a sign of what n0thing has become to CS fans. It's been a long time since n0thing was the young, hotshot savant he was known for being in 1.6. It's been a long time since he was one of the best players in NA. It's been a long time since he's even been on a successful roster. But there is something about n0thing that is always true. n0thing will always be a crowd favorite. His legacy is one of excellence, but perhaps more importantly, of a player who wasn't afraid to pull down the curtain a little, be honest with his fans, and teach people about the game.
So what's cool for me as a streamer right now is to keep educating and keep pushing kids to get better, because really what keeps the scene thriving is all of the largest group of players, the like not super competitive guys, having fun playing it because they are trying to get better or whatever reason, and play with their friends and sense of community. So
n0thing's legacy in CSGO will likely remain forever, but the work he does now, in that liminal state between player and retired personality, is sealing him in as one of NA's most important CS personalities. The educating he does, the fans he keeps interested in the game, and the ability he has to inspire young players will only become more important to the scene as it matures.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.